It's another beautiful day in Chiefs Kingdom. Beautiful day in Chiefs YouTube. I am Gary McKenzie, your host for Gridiron Lines. Welcome aboard, everyone, here to RGR Football. If this is your first time, you've reached the place where you can find the best Chiefs content on YouTube. Hands down. Not necessarily speaking about my videos, talking about Ryan, Dan, and Seth. Those guys are awesome. But today's video, I want to talk about the way too early Chiefs training camp battles. So, Chiefs training camp starts July 23rd, and we have about a month and 10 days before that happens. And this is the deadest time of the year in terms of the NFL. So, this period from mid-June to training camp is just like a barren wasteland for NFL content. So we're going to struggle. This is where Chiefs YouTubers and Chiefs content creators, NFL content creators have the hardest time thinking up content to discuss. So I look forward to the challenge of creating content over this next 4 or 5 weeks before training camp. But today's video, I just want to talk about way too early training camp battles I'm looking forward to for the Chiefs, and I'm going to give you my top 5. So these are my top 5. Your top 5 might be different. If they are, let me know down in the comments. I'm always all ears to listen to what you all have to say. I'm more of a student than anything else here, and I learn from you all. So whenever you comment, I get new information. I learn from it. So I want to say I appreciate everyone who comments on the videos. But we'll go from least important to what I think is the most important position battle. So starting with the least important position battle, number 5 in my list, I have the backup running back position. And so we all know Isaiah Pacheco is going to be the starting running back, but who is going to take that second second string running back position for the Chiefs? Is it going to be CEH or is it going to be the field? Particularly, will Deneric Prince be able to show some things that make the Chiefs kind of question whether or not they want to put CEH out there in that second string role? Right now, I think that CEH pretty much has that position locked down, but you never know once things go into training camp. I also included Rees-Zammit in this competition too, but realistically speaking, Rees-Zammit is 6'2", 209 pounds. And that's almost exactly how big I am. And whenever I think about going over the middle or going outside or having to run against anything NFL related, those guys would destroy me. So while, Rees-Zammit is a bigger guy, I'm not so sure you want to put him in the running back position getting much of a workload. So I see him more as like a change of pace type player, more of a receiver than a guy who's going to run it between the tackles. Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they don't weigh much more than Rees-Zammit, but they're shorter, they're more compact. They can take more of a beating. So I think that this is probably going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire that gets this backup running back position. And as far as Rees-Zammit goes, sure, he's fast. Sure, he's a great rugby player. Sure, he's young. But I'm concerned about the hype around this player, and I just don't think he's going to be able to live up to all the hype that's been pumped around him. I think he's an interesting option for the Chiefs to see what he can do in training camp. But once the pads come on, I don't know what's going to happen with this player. He could be great, but it just seems like there's been a lot of hype around him, and I don't necessarily believe that the hype is 100% warranted. So we'll see what happens in camp, but that's number 5 for me. Number 4, who's going to get the backup tight end position for the Chiefs? Right now, it's between Noah Gray, Irv Smith, and Jared Wiley. So whenever I started making this video, I was going through the different position groupings, seeing what players were available, and I saw Irv Smith in the mix, and I forgot. Hey, yeah, the Chiefs picked this guy up. He's one of their earlier free agency signings. And Irv Smith is a pretty talented tight end. He has good athleticism. I would say he has similar traits to Jared Wiley, both athletic, good 40 times. And I think that this tight end 2 position to back up Travis Kelce is going to be a little bit clogged up. I don't have an inkling on who it might be. I think that the Chiefs are going to want to use Irv Smith and Jared Wiley kind of in more of that attacking, receiving tight end role that Travis Kelce plays, whereas Noah Gray will get more of kind of the Blake Bell role. I will say that overall this tight end group improved from last year a fair amount. So I think that the tight end position is going to be a strength again for the Chiefs, not just because Travis Kelce, but because of the depth they have at the position. So I'm curious to see who's tight end 2. That's number 4. Number 3. This is where things get a little crazy. So the Chiefs are going to keep 6 or 7 wide receivers. That means out of the 13 wide receivers that they have, 6 or 7 of them are going to need to be cut. So my competition that I'm looking for in Chiefs camp, the third most important competition I have is who are going to be those 6 or 7 wide receivers that make the team? Who's going to be the wide receiver 6 or who's going to be wide receiver 7? And right now, here are the wide receivers the Chiefs have on their roster. They have Phillip Brooks, Hollywood Brown, Mecole Hardman, Jaron Hayek, Sky Moore, Cornell Powell, Nico Remigio, Rashee Rice, Justin Ross, Kadarius Toney, Montrell Washington, Justin Watson, and Xavier Worthy. So looking at this list, there's going to be some names that Chiefs Kingdom really like who are not going to make the team. So just like right off the top, 4 players I could see getting cut going into the 2024 season. I could see Phillip Brooks getting cut. I could see Jaron Hayek getting cut. I could see Cornell Powell getting cut. I could see Montrell Washington getting cut. Players who I do not see getting cut: Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, Justin Watson, and Xavier Worthy. So there's 4 players. And then the remaining 2 or 3 that stay on the roster has to be sorted out between Mecole Hardman, Sky Moore, Nico Remigio, Justin Ross, Kadarius Toney. So of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players, 3 of them are going to get cut, most likely. So who out of Mecole Hardman, Sky Moore, Remigio, Justin Ross, and Kadarius Toney, which of those 3 guys are you going to cut? And that's difficult. So, I mean, you might want to start thinking, well, Justin Ross has had a couple years to try to get things together, hasn't been able to do it. Maybe he would be the first on the chopping block. You could say the same about Sky Moore. You could say, Nico Remigio is just a camp guy. Maybe he can't cut it every down in the NFL. You might have some frustrations with Kadarius Toney, but the talent is extraordinary. So there's going to be some guys out of these 5 receivers that get cut that no one's happy about. And so this is just a mess at the wide receiver position, but it's a good problem for the Chiefs to have. And I think that going into the 2024 season, once Rashee Rice is on the field and his suspension's fulfilled, this is actually a pretty dang good receiver group. Has good depth and has three players, I think, they will have 3 receivers that I think will be playing at least a number 2 level. And those three are Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy. So this is going to be a group that's much improved from last year. So that's my third most important camp battle. My second most important camp battle is between Mike Dana and Felix Anudike Uzoma. So last year, we all saw Charles Omenihu tear his ACL in the playoffs. He is expected to be out for the start of the season. I know his recovery's been going well, but overall, you would expect him to miss some time given when he tore his ACL. And that means that the other defensive end position, the other pass rush position that he was filling, even though, sometimes he plays inside, sometimes he plays outside, who's going to be that player that steps in for the Chiefs and fills that pass rush void that Charles Omenihu left? And I believe this competition to try to get that production, try to get those pass rush or try to get those pressures, that competition is going to become a battle between Mike Dana and FAU. And last year we didn't see much of FAU. Maybe it was because the Chiefs wanted him to have a year to get to get acclimated to the system, the defensive system, to maybe work on some things physically, perhaps gain some weight, gain some strength, do a bunch of different things. But I also think that FAU was a victim of, hey, there's a lot of good pass rushers ahead of him. If you don't remember, the Chiefs had the second most sacks in 2023 last year. They were getting after the quarterback, even without their first-round pick making much noise. So I want to see Mike Dana and FAU have a good competition in camp to try to shore up that other defensive end spot on the opposite side of George Karlaftis. And that's one of the battles I'm really looking forward to. And FAU not getting much playing time last year, I mean, let's be real, that's not a good sign. But that doesn't mean he is falling by the wayside. So I'm really curious to see that battle. I want to see if FAU can compete with Mike Dana. And if he can, that's really good news for the Chiefs. That's why I have it as the second most important position battle for the Chiefs. Because if they can get production out of FAU and he surpasses what Mike Dana brings to the table, then that's going to be a really good sign for the Chiefs defense. They're going to have a really good pass rush again in 2023. But if he doesn't compete well and Mike Dana, does his usual thing, very solid, consistent player, I think that might be not as good of a situation for the Chiefs as if someone was able to beat Mike Dana in camp. So that's my number 2. My number 1 most important position battle for the Chiefs, you all have probably guessed it. It's going to be whoever's protecting Patrick Mahomes' blind side, that left tackle position, the competition between Wanya Morris and Kingsley Suamataia. And my money is on Suamataia. I really liked what he did in college. I like his composure. I like his strength. I like his ceiling. Nothing against Wanya Morris. I think he could be a suitable swing tackle, but I just really like Suamataia. And I think that this position, this battle, is super important because obviously you're protecting Patrick Mahomes' blind side, but the offensive line in the NFL in the 2020s is so important. You need an offensive line that can protect the quarterback. The teams who do the best in the playoffs are often the teams who have the best offensive lines. And the Chiefs are also looking for places to save money against the salary cap. So if you have a quarterback, or if you have a left tackle who's on a rookie contract, that's almost as good as having a quarterback on a rookie contract. You can save so much money by not having to pay a large contract to a left tackle. This would help the Chiefs in terms of roster building, their salary cap management, all kinds of different things. So this is the most important battle for the Chiefs going into this training camp. And I'm really excited to see how those two shake out. My money's on Suamataia, but I also think that Morris, he's got a shot. It's a competition. This is not a position that is declared with an obvious starter. So super important position for the Chiefs offense. and two young players trying to vie for that left tackle role, the most important position battle, in my opinion, for the Chiefs heading into training camp. But now it's your turn to tell me what I got wrong. Do you think these top five are right? What position battles are you looking forward to in training camp? You know, one of the battles that got an honorable mention for me is who's going to get that third cornerback role for the Chiefs. Will someone come out of the crowd and overtake either Jaylen Watson or Joshua Williams, or will it be those three, McDuffie, Williams, Watson, that are running the show in the secondary? Let me know what you think the most important camp battles are for the Chiefs heading into training camp. Just to recap, number 5, running back, who's going to be the backup running back. Number 4, backup tight end. Number 3, the cluster -- at wide receiver position. The defensive end role opposite George Karlaftis, and then number 1, the left tackle position. That's my top 5. Let me know what your top 5 are down in the comments. And then as always, if you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. We appreciate all of you. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. We're getting so close. We're almost there. And just want to say thank you once again to all of you for sticking around, watching this video, participating in Chiefs YouTube, participating in RGR Football, this channel, this show, everything. Got nothing but love for you all. Let's go Chiefs, and let's get through this month and 10 days of the most boring part of the NFL offseason. We'll all survive together. Take it easy. This is Gary signing out.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.